All right, we are back at the nursery today and we are discussing mulch. Should we or should we not mulch our planter areas? Let's find out. So if you guys aren't too familiar with mulch, it's used as a top dressing for landscape areas. So after you plant, you have open, bare dirt, and you want to put something on top of it as kind of the icing on the cake, if you will. Why do we use mulch for that? Well, there's a few reasons, and I want to talk about them. And there's also some, I don't want to call it controversy, but there's some, folks that will say, don't mulch for this reason, and I want to tell you about that too. So, why do we use mulch? Reason number one is for aesthetics. Mulch is that finishing touch. Ding! It just kind of makes everything look even and beautiful and clean and tidy and fresh, instead of just looking at bare dirt after you've planted. And not to mention, it covers up drip irrigation lines, which is a wonderful added bonus. There's different kinds of mulch. There is mulch that is bigger and chunkier. There is mulch that is more finely chopped and shredded, which I typically prefer. There is colored mulch, which I typically stay away from. It just, I don't know, it looks a little too fake, too phony for me. And mulch can refer to any kind of top dressing, really. It could be natural or it could be artificial. So there's all these different kinds of mulches. And depending on what supplier you go to, whether it's in bulk or in bags, it's all gonna look a little bit different. So it's a little bit subjective in the kind and size of mulch that you use. Now, besides it making the garden all nice and pretty and tidy, it has some functionality to it as well. Mulch acts as a weed abatement, and it basically just adds a layer of protection for weed seeds to come and root into your open soil. Is it 100% for sure it's gonna keep weeds out? No, absolutely not. You're always gonna have weeds in the landscape. That's just the nature of the business. But it definitely does help to keep some weeds out. Now, another reason why I really like mulch, it helps lock in moisture for your plants. Whether you're using an irrigation system or you're hand watering, when you water the plants, the mulch layer actually helps prevent evaporation and some runoff, so you actually have to use less water, which is nice. It holds in that moisture a little bit longer to make your irrigation water a little bit more efficient. Now, therein lies one of the issues with mulch. Because it holds in some moisture, a lot of moisture-sensitive plants do not like moisture that is constantly around their root ball. So that's why some folks will say we don't want to use mulch. And that's not incorrect. You have to just kind of see what is going to work best for your particular site. You also have to look at your soil type. Is it a soil that already holds in a lot of moisture, like a heavier soil like clay? Or is it a soil type that allows really good percolation of water, like sand or loam, and water does not stand around the plant. It actually percolates down through. So if you're planting a lot of cacti and succulents, you might want to consider using something else as your top dressing. Maybe decomposed granite or a decorative pebble or rock, something like that. Something that is not going to hold a lot of water. But keep in mind, when you go to those alternative products, it might tend to look a little bit more southwestern. So stylistically, you also have to keep that in mind. But honestly, I still use mulch with succulents and cacti in some designs, and I've never had a problem. Now, another reason why some folks may not like mulch too much is sometimes it is attractive for neighborhood cats to come in and do their business on. Typically on my projects, I don't have an issue with it. Maybe once in a while you'll see some scratching around in it from a rodent or something, but you just kind of move it around and reconfigure it to clean that area up, and it's totally fine. I would much prefer to deal with some of the little idiosyncrasies and reap the benefits of it. That's just my personal preference. I probably use it on 90% of my projects. The other times I'm using alternative top dressings like pebble, decomposed granite, etc. Now, another reason why I really like mulch is it helps build the topsoil. So when you put on a layer of mulch, and by the way, you want to put it on at least 3 inches to be really effective. As the mulch decomposes, it starts to break down and actually build up the topsoil under it. So it's a nutrition factor for the plants that you've planted. And after it's decomposed a while and starts to dissipate, you'll probably want to keep adding more, maybe about once a year. So all in all, it's got some really great attributes, both aesthetic and practical for the landscape. So that's it for mulch. Thank you guys for watching and hanging out and being with me today. If you guys have never been to the website, go to budgetplants.com. There's a lot of photos and more videos and a great place to get some information and of course buy plants if you want to. So I'm Dominic. Thanks for hanging out with me again today, guys. I will see you on the next one, and as always, happy planting.